Today, I'll be talking again with psychologist and author Dr. Dan Peters. Dr. Dan is also the co-founder of Parent Footprint. As many of us face continued home-based work and schooling with limits on our social activities we enjoy, lots of parents and their children are struggling to cope with their feelings. Today, I'll be talking with Dr. Dan about ways to cope with stress, anxiety, depression, illness, and the many negative emotions that we are experiencing during this time. Dr. Dan, welcome.
Thanks, Don. It's good to be back.
As most of us have had to isolate ourselves and curtail most of our social interaction due to COVID, why has this had such a powerful effect on people's moods and ability to function?
Well, so much has been taken from us. So many of the things that we've taken for granted. I have clients who are living in cities and they don't even feel safe walking on the streets because it's congested, and there's people who are not wearing masks and not keeping distance. And so if you think about, on the one hand, athletic activities, movies, going to state national parks for much of this as well. Like all these places that we could get out, we can get in nature, we can get air, we could exercise, we can gather with friends. So many kids and parents just suffering from not being able to connect with their friends, not being able to play Magic the Gathering because you can't touch the same card, you can't be close enough together. And so really, there's just this not only isolation. We humans are meant to connect and be together, and we have these mirror neurons, which still work to some degree through screens, but not the same as being in the room. And so with all of these restrictions and these limitations and this isolation, it creates a lot of pent up energy, angst, sadness, anxiety. And that's not even to think about COVID itself and everything that we have to think about to stay safe and concerned for our loved ones.
Well, I certainly have experienced a lot of those emotions and feelings myself. And so I'd like to talk a little bit about self-care. How does self-care provide relief when we are feeling stressed and overwhelmed?
It's key. And I just want to acknowledge for working parents, whether they're working out of the home or working in the home, or single parents and who are doing that, and then trying to help their kid virtual school. It's really hard. It's really hard at multiple levels. And because, as I just talked about, all these things have been taken from us, which would fill us up, going outside, getting exercise, talking to a friend. We need to find ways to have some time for ourselves. And it can take many, many forms. I think the thing is that as parents, we usually put ourselves last. Kids' needs come first. Other family members' needs come first. And we really have to prioritize our own health because of how instrumental you all are to your families, and how we are as parents trickles down to, from an energetic level, from an emotional level, from a behavior level, how our kids are. So building in self-care, even for a couple minutes a day, to 10 minutes, to 15 minutes, to a half hour, whatever you can do is key. There's several forms. Sitting and just breathing, listening to music, reading a book, journaling, doing yoga. I mean, everything now is on a screen, right? I mean, people can exercise, be guided meditation, guided yoga through your phone or your computer, talking to a friend, going for a walk whenever you can get outside to get some fresh air, some nature, and some sunlight, depending on where you live in the country, like just to feel the air. It's critical for the health of your biological system.
Very, very nice. Now, a lot of parents may be thinking, well, self-care, that's kind of selfish. And you mentioned why it's so important. But what suggestions would you have for parents as far as activities that they can do with their children, and also to help their children see the importance of self-care.
Hmm. I think so. I'm on the West Coast, so the weather outside of the rain, we can be out more than some folks in the Midwest and the East. So with that said, though, doing self-care together, I still feel like you get your own in, just a little bit of no interference from kids that are always at you. But we need to model. So again, it could be reading time. It could be, let's do a puzzle together, right? So downtime away from screen time. It could be, hey, let's put our screens down and let's just talk. It love getting outside, whether you're rollerblading, whether you're walking, whether you're jogging, whether you're going on a bike ride, whether you're throwing a ball or kicking a soccer ball at a park. These are all things to show that, hey, you know what? We need to get outside, or we need to do something different, or hey, let's plan us time. And us time or me time is so we can replenish our bodies and our minds. And I think part of the doing it is also talking about it. So we're modeling for the kids the importance. And I want to say, just hit something else you said, Don, about the selfishness. It's really important because a lot of parents feel guilty if they do, and particularly mothers, particularly really involved mothers, if they do anything for themselves. Oh, no, I shouldn't be doing this for me. And I'm here to say, like, you absolutely should be doing for you, not only because you need it for your health, but it's important that your kids know that you matter as an individual, that have your own needs and your own desires and your own wants. That is good for kids to see. Now, of course, if taken to an extreme, that's not what we're talking about. We're just talking about, hey, you know what? I need to go lay down for 15 minutes. I need to go just take a break. I need some me time right now so I can feel more present and show up in a way I want for you, and articulate this.
So excellent suggestions there. Now, one thing that I found necessary also in my case is to limit myself to how much news I watch, because everything is bad and everything is negative. And if you're so focused on the daily news, not only does it have an impact on yourself, but it can have an impact on your children. I'm sure you probably noticed that yourself.
Very much. I've always been someone who stayed away from the news just because of, it's an anxiety management technique, because it's just, the news is there to shake us and to make us worry about things. And so I've stayed away from it successfully. However, with the elections and with how it all dragged on, and with what's just been happening, and with the Capitol and all the stuff we're dealing with, I found myself glued to watching the news as, again, I think, a way of anxiety management. I wanted to know what was happening, but I can tell you, I think we agree here, Don, like, it was too much. Like I was watching too much news, and I was amped up, and I was less present, and I was thinking about what happened, and now moving away from it again, I just feel so much more grounded. And as I've always told people, my parents used to say, like, how are you gonna, if you don't watch the news, how are you gonna, know what's going on? And I said, I've never missed a major event. Somehow it always gets to me. So I think it's just really important what you're saying, Don, is that for people to really be mindful of how much news you're watching, and to remember that our kids, even if they're not in the room, they're always listening. And so, especially with what has been going on over the last several months, and with the pandemic and this year, we want to really be mindful of what they're hearing and what we're talking about, so we don't increase any distress or distress for them.
Very nice. So, is there anything else I haven't asked that you would like to share?
I think hope and acceptance. Like, in the context, first of all, we have to acknowledge this is, like, everyone uses the word unprecedented, right? This is a tremendous time we're living in. It's not only the pandemic. If you look back over the year, you have you have political stuff, you have elections, you have racial injustice, right? You have police brutality. You have like all of these things that we're trying to deal with, which are really big things. Climate change. Our lives have changed. And so we have to accept, we have to acknowledge, we need to mourn and grieve for so much suffering at so many levels. And we have to work really hard to accept the reality of which we are living in and try to cling to hope. Try to cling to hope. I mean, if we look back through time, you know, you don't have to look too far in time for bad stuff to happen and for people to have to persevere, to be resilient and get through it. And we're in one of those times right now. So I just try to say, like, try to have the longer perspective, which is hard. Try to do your best to accept the situation we're in, the limitations, the restrictions, the isolation. Do your best to really do what you can with self-care, with creativity, with fun, and just try to keep that hope that we will get through this and it will be different one day.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Dan, for taking the time to talk with us today. Now, you can click on the links in the description below to learn more about Dr. Dan, the Summit Center, and also his books. Thank you again.
Thanks, Tom.